Hello everyone, welcome back to Random Friday. Sorry there wasn't one last week, but I did have quite a considerable workload at the company I work for, so I didn't really feel like doing Random Friday, so I do apologise about that one. Anyway, today what have we got to look at? Bought myself some ear defenders, my childhood microscope, screwdriver and socket set, and this little old valve which we dug up at work today. One of my colleagues at work is digging himself a little garden there in the work compound, and I was talking to him while he was forking out some soil and all that lot, and I saw this laying in there and I said, what on earth's that? So he picked it up and passed it to me, and it turns out to be this little old valve here. Where I work used to be a government facility back in World War II. I believe it may have been a listening post, probably an RAF base as well at one point or another. So this thing has probably been laying in the ground there, maybe since the Second World War, maybe a bit later than that. But yeah, so it's obviously something in a like a radio or some other device used by the whoever was there at the time, and it probably stopped working, so they had to swap it out for a new one, and this one obviously got chucked on the ground, I would imagine, or found its way outside somehow. I'm not quite sure why it's white inside, maybe something blue inside it, you know, and created all this, because it is inside the glass, as you can see. Look, I can't wipe it off at all. The legs are all bent, but you can almost see what's going on in here. Wonder if I can get a close-up of that for you. Yeah, so you can see some of the gubbins in there, but not all of it. You can see a few wires in the back just here. Now these little legs are all bent, they were covered in soil. I have cleaned this thing up a little bit actually, guys. These valves were quite complex little items. This is a small one, as you can see. You used to get larger ones as well. It's just like a bulb really, but yeah, transistors took over from these very nicely, thank you. They're much better than these things are. But yeah, so this has been, I don't know, laying in the ground for maybe 70 odd years, or let's say probably a bit, you know, later than that, probably the 60s maybe, I'm not sure, but quite an interesting little find in the ground there, dug up. Over the weekend I was doing a clean-up job on this very nice little vintage micrometer here from about 1902 possibly. That's the when the patent date is on it. It's an old Starrett model number 133. I quite like these things. They're very nice, you know, the precision that they're made to and stuff. Anyway, I was using my late father's drill with some buffing wheels in it, and I was using it for maybe an hour, maybe, possibly, quite some time anyway, and it makes quite a racket, and it gave me quite a considerable migraine to contend with, which sort of lasted the rest of the day and sort of put me out of action. But so I decided to get myself a set of ear protection. I had a look through the Screwfix website, and I came up with these reasonably priced Stanley ear defenders here. In the past I've been using the little things you shove in your ears, but that's quite inconvenient really, and I have a job getting them in my left ear canal for some reason or another these days. But these things just clamp over your head, and they do actually cut out quite a lot of the sound, well, a huge amount of the sound. So I've tried the drill, and you can barely hear it really. It cuts out quite a lot of the sound. One thing I have found though, because it seals your ears up quite nicely, I can feel it on my eardrums. When I clamp this over my head, I can really feel it on the eardrums. It feels a little bit odd, but better that than ear damage and another migraine, I think. So I'll have to let you know how I get on with these little fellows. Back between 2003 and 2007 I used to work for a well-known tool company in their technical department, and obviously we would have access to all the tools there and a very nice company discount back then. I don't think it's so good now, but I found this in the catalogue one day and I thought, oh, that looks interesting, I'd like one of those. So what have we got here exactly? Well, as you can see, we have a set of sockets here, one of which is attached to the main tool itself, which you can use just like a screwdriver. It's got a lock on it, so you can use it like a normal screwdriver, and it also ratchets both ways. You lock it off in the centre so it's like a normal screwdriver, and also by depressing this button here you can lock it at a couple of different angles to get into interesting spaces, which with the ratchet at this angle is quite handy. Not only does it have sockets, but also if we undo the back end of things here, we have a selection of screwdriver bits, and they're all held together in this little circular container here. They just snap out like so, snap back in again, and we also have another socket on the end here. This is the adapter for said pieces here. So you just they just fit in there, held in with a magnet, quite a strong magnet, as you can see. So that just goes on the end there. Those live in there. You can fit any of this type of 1/4" square drive screwdriver bits in there, so you can carry what you like in here really. This has got like a few different pieces in there, and I said it all screws into the back of the handle like so, and it comes with this here, which is actually a little holster. You can clip it onto your belt. Look, actually clip onto a belt there, and it swivels about, so you can you know, so it doesn't, if you sit down it doesn't dig into you, and it's simply held in like so. And it's quite a nice little tool actually. To be honest with you, I've never got around to using it yet, but I thought it's one of those things that's, you know, handy if you never use it really. And finally today I'd like to take a look at this old microscope here. My late father brought this home for me back in about maybe 1970, 69, 70. He spent a year working on an RAF base, supervising the building of the new runway, and he was there for a whole year, and he would bring his stuff back when he came home, that is. And he bought me this little microscope one day. I thought, wow, it's fantastic, let's take a look at it, guys. Unfortunately some of the kit is missing. We had some tweezers there, there's this little glass stirring rod or plastic stirring rod, whatever it is. There was a little sort of like a pointy spike type thing here for jabbing into things to pick them up. There's this scalpel here, which obviously got broken at some time, it's got taped up, and there's what's left of a pipette here. Obviously the little rubber squeezy bit got perished away in the past. There's a little magnifying glass that's got missing. There was some little small glass bits in there you'd put over the top of the little slides here to clamp stuff down to keep it where you needed it to be. And there's a thing like there used to be a bumblebee in here. I don't know what's left of the bumblebee. And there's a few like, I don't know what the hell that is, eosine, and you got some of the colours and stuff. Some of this is all gone funny, look, dried up. I think this methylene blue, I think that's still going all right there. I wonder how this bee's doing in here. Probably not a lot left of the poor old bee by now, but something for you to look at under the microscope here. Right, so here it is. I think it's made from probably a cast alloy of some description with quite a nice green finish on it. Got a little stand here to put your slides on. If this were made today, it would have a little LED light, but back in the day all I had was this little mirror on here just to reflect the light up through here and through the lens. It still works, guys, it still works. You've got, as you can see, look, it says Bandai, made in Japan. This was, by the way, guys, made in Japan. So you've got Bandai, company name, 100 times, 300 times and 600 times magnification, and that is achieved by rotating this little turret of lenses round. It's got a little spring detent in there so it locks into place. So I think you'll find this is probably the 100 times, this will be 300 times, and the other one here will be 600 times magnification, I would imagine. And you've got the focusing, which is achieved by winding it up and down like so. I had many hours of fun finding stuff to look at under here, you know, like probably dead ants and leaves and bits and pieces like that. Anything really small I was interested in. As I say, it still works. I think you can still see stuff through it. I don't know if we can get it on camera, but I'll try, see what we can do for you. Okay, so we are actually looking down the front now. If I angle the mirror up. Get the light. Here we go. Here's the light coming through. Well, there's anything we can pop under here we can have a look at, guys. See if I find something. Okay guys, so what I've done is I've set up a little bit of an old leaf that I just found out in the garden. Underneath the, I think it's 100 times magnification, because that's the easiest one I can work with the camera. Let's get some, see if we can get some light up there. Where's the light? Here we go. Hopefully you'll be able to see something in there. Let's have a look. Zoom in a bit. There we go, guys. So there we go. You can actually see a little bit of leaf in there. Look. I wonder if I can focus that better. No. So there's a little bit of leaf for you to take a look at, guys. How about that? Wow. Still works after all these years. Fantastic. To be honest, this thing could do with a bit of a clean-up, because it's been in so many attics over the years. Getting a bit damp and discoloured, as you can see. It's a bit messy. I don't think we need that leaf on there anymore. But it still works. And as I say, as a child I had many hours of fun looking at stuff with this. As I say, probably little ants and insects and grass and all sorts of anything I could find that would fit under there and I could take a look at. That's exactly what I would do with it. And as I say, it's really nicely made. Made in Japan, actually, by Bandai. I think that company's still going today, actually, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, so my old microscope. More of my stuff for you to look at then, guys. I say my new ear defender, so I'll have to let you know how I get on with these, but I think they'll be quite fine, actually. The old valve here, God knows how long that's been kicking about in the soil at work. Decades and decades, I'd imagine. And I say this, my late father bought me, probably 1970, I would imagine. Still works, still a very nice piece of kit, still managed to keep hold of it after all these years. And then the screwdriver and socket set that I picked up, probably about 2006, maybe, something like that there. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed coming over and taking a look at all this lot today, guys. I'm sorry about last week, but as I say, you know, workload at the company I work for had ramped up quite considerably. We have a new product out, and I was heavily involved in that. And I shall be building another load of those this coming week as well, at least next week anyway. Alright guys, well, thanks for popping over, thanks for taking a look, and I will catch you laters!
Ruff, ruff.